I want to do an embroidery that's about 16 inches wide, but I'm using the Bernina 500, which has a smaller sew field. The Mega hoop allows you to move to 3 different positions so that you can create a larger design using a smaller sew field. And I'll start with my lettering, and I'll type in all caps Bernina. I'm going to leave that at 40. I'm going to select varsity, but not applique. I'm just going to select varsity block caps, and I'll say OK and place it somewhere in here, and I'll go ahead and center it just to kind of keep my thoughts about me. And from here, I know that I want to go, I'm going to keep this in proportional shaping, sizing, and I'm going to change my width to 390. The hoop is has a 400 millimeter distance, but I may need a little bit for the satin stitching that I'm going to be adding, so we'll hit that at 390. And then what I want to do to really show off the lettering, I'll use the elastic lettering and curve it top and bottom. But before I do that, I need to be sure that my letters are spaced like I need them to be. So with it selected, I'll touch H on my keyboard. It's the same thing as coming to your reshape object, and I'm just going to touch these up a little bit. That A could go a little bit closer. The rest of them are not too bad. You could even move 2 at once if you want to move that E over a little bit. I find that if I use the arrow keys on my keyboard, I have a little bit more control. And so I can space this backwards. Going to touch 0. That shows me everything that's in my design so far. And let's use our selection arrow. So I've come down a little bit, and from here I think I'm going to go back up to my 390. Okay. And now I'll engage the elastic lettering by going to my Edit menu, choose the elastic lettering, and the curved. This gives me my pull points. I'll hold my Shift key, and then I can just move one of them and the other will follow. So I want to really maximize the letters to fill this area. This will be a sketch stitch. I'm not going to do a satin stitch. This could be used on something lightweight, even a t-shirt. But also it sews a little bit faster not to have it solid. And you're going to get a nice effect with it. So I'm satisfied with that. Now I want to come up to Edit, because I'm going to take off my underlay, and I'm going to select the lettering that I have and change it to a fill stitch. Now, my sketch stitch, I want to run horizontally along these letters, and these inside bits would break the lettering. It just wouldn't give as nice an effect. So I'll come to, my idea is to weld them, but to weld them, I have to first break this apart. And let's select this. Now I can weld them. And when I do that, I get completely horizontal lines across everything. From there, I want to change the spacing, and I want to be sure I'm staying at 0 for everything I'm doing. Okay. I've got some more leeway there, but let's not get too greedy, I guess. We'll leave enough for satin stitch if we need it. Okay, touching 0. And I will come to Object Properties. Several ways to do that. and my fill stitch. I'm going to leave it as a step. I'm going to take this to perhaps 3 millimeters spacing between them. The 4 is fine. I don't need any extra patterns, and I'll say okay. Now these lines running through it would spoil the effect. So I want to go to my effects, and let's do travel on edges, and okay, and see how that cleaned that up. I'm not going to worry too much about the open spaces because that's going to be covered with a satin stitch. To get that, I'll close my edit toolbox. I need that still open. Let's get the edit. Let's go to our outlines and offsets. I'm going to give it another color just to make this easy. And I'm just going to use the single for now. I find I have more control if I start with a single stitch and then change it to a satin. So we'll say okay on this. And the N, I find, gives me a little bit of residue, and I'm sure it's how it was drawn originally, but I can get rid of those by going to my reshape, and I'll just come in here and grab it. Grab and delete. Oops. Escape. I just want to grab that little bit. It would spoil my line, so I want to clean that out. Okay, I don't see any others. It was mainly the ends I'm running into that. And I think I did my fill too quickly. So I'm going to put this back. I do these different every time. So let's put this back on just I'm going to right click and we'll do it just a normal 0.5 fill. Okay, because the cookie cutter didn't work as well for me. I'm going to be adding some lettering that I want to cut away this area, and I think it works better when it's still a fill, what I found out a few minutes ago. So, coming into my lettering, and select the lettering tool, going to type and select just a pretty script of some kind. Molly's kind of fun. Let's do that one this time. My height, I'm going to guess about 20 millimeters. I may change that. Say apply, and I need to be giving it another color. Let's say pink, and set it down here. Yeah, that's kind of cute, but I do want it bigger than that. Okay, so let's say width of, let's try 300, see if we like that. And remember, I'm keeping this proportional. Yeah, I kind of like that. And I want to be sure that it's touching the A and the B. Let's see what it does look like if it's truly centered. Yeah, I'm going to fudge it and go back to my left a little bit. Just so it looks like it's balanced on those letters. And I'm going to drop it down. It's all personal preference. You can't do it wrong. Okay, so this will be my final lettering that will go into this. So I don't want to delete it. I want it to stay. And I'm trying to watch things like this, that it doesn't get too messy. Okay, with this lettering, I'm going to create a cookie cutter shape by using my edit toolbox and my outlines and offsets. And I'll use the single because I have more control that way. And it doesn't really matter what color. Let's stay with the red though. And I didn't really mean to do that. I want an offset. Control Z. Let's try that again. I don't want so much an outline, but I do want an offset. And I'm going to leave it at 3. I'm going to change this to a red. Because eventually I want this line to form, to blend into what I've got going on here. So we'll say okay on this. Great. Now the reason for going into a straight stitch for this part, I can see now that I'm going to have some trouble spots. There's no need for this to sew, so I'll delete that. See how that extends? That will be messy. There, that cleaned that up. I don't want this one. Don't know where you came from. Okay. But all these would create messiness. Sure don't want you. That's coming down a little bit deep. Let's see if I can touch H and fix that. Yeah. So I'll just delete that node. I'll change this node by touching my spacebar into a straight. What else can I do here? Let's eliminate some of this. But this is easier to do when you're in a straight stitch mode. Here's a trouble one. Delete. That's all pretty clean. Pretty clean. Let's come over here. Got a little bit of cleanup. Don't want this. If I'm on my selection, I can grab the whole thing. Delete. Get this one. Delete. And this one. Delete. Okay. Now, what I'm going to be cutting away is what is were the Bernina letters. That's going to be my cookie cutter. So I'll select this. Do I have them all? I do. When I took it out of True View and just went to Stitch View, I could see better what was selected. Okay. This is going to be a solid fill. Touching T, I can see that. And I'm touching 0. And that's what's going to be cut away. So with this selected, I'll then go to remove overlaps. And when we zoom in a minute, you'll see that it took out parts of this that we don't need. This is also waste, so it gets deleted. Oh, that's nice and clean. Okay. This one, I'm debating whether to eliminate this. What I'll do is I'll hit Control X and it will eliminate it for now. It put it on my clipboard, my Windows clipboard, so if I do need to bring it back, I still can. So with the green selected, I'll come now to my outlines and offsets. I don't want an offset, I want an outline. Let's let that be red. We'll say okay. And now that's going to give me nice clean lines that I can turn to satin stitch. But I'm watching out for things like this. We saw that a minute ago. It's just residue of how these letters were created. And now we'll eliminate them. Okay. Got kind of a dimple there. Let's see how this shapes up. I'll select my green. And now I'm going to go ahead and use the sketch stitch effect again by coming to my fill stitch. I'll leave it at step. I'll change this to perhaps 3 millimeter. It's all perfect. Personal preference. You can't do it wrong. And we'll say okay. Looking for any odd little trouble spots, but I don't see them. I think they were mainly in the end. Okay. Now, with this outline, I can now change it to a satin. It's going to, oh, that's not too bad. It's coming up a little bit bold for my liking. So I will go to my object properties. And my outline stitch came up to 3. If I'm doing a true applique, 2.5 would be my minimum to be able to hold the edge of the fabric nicely. But for this design, because there's no applique involved, 2 is probably going to be my preference. And I'll say okay. And what else can I do? I want to be sure I don't have any underlay under that because it's not needed. It's disengaged, so there's no underlay there, and of course there's no underlay there. This, I may want just a center line, so I'll right click on my underlay. Zigzag's going to be overkill, mainly because this is so narrow, and I'll change that to, let's do just a center walk for that, I think. Apply, okay. And now we want to get but let's watch this sew. What I will eventually want is to be sure that it's sewing from one side to the other, because I have this positionable hoop. So let's just run it and see what we've got so far. See, it's starting in the center, which is great for a lot of lettering. But for this particular hoop, because I don't want to be having the machine stop so much and have me reposition so often, I'm going to come up. Let's turn this off. Okay. And I will select, let's do this so we get a hold of, try to get a hold of everything. Hold my control key. I'll touch the A. And let's again put it on stitch view so that I can see them select. So that will sew first, then maybe this one, then, oh, but I don't want the outline. Well, it wouldn't matter a whole lot, but I don't. Let me begin again. I'll hit escape. Let's try again. Control. Get the A. Maybe I can see it here. So there's my A. My N. 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 Then my I. And let's see where this other N goes. I know it's here. Is it either side of it? So far good. So far good. We could go into the R. We can do the lower part of the R, main part of the R. What I'm doing is I'm selecting these by the sequence that I want them to sew. I think that's my E I want, and that should be the base of my E. I think I've missed something, but maybe that is my, there's my B. This belongs with somebody, and I'm just not seeing it. I'll just go ahead and let it dance last. I'll say 1, 2, 3. Okay. I want to be sure that all my sketch stitching goes down first, and then my satin stitching that's on top. So since I finished over here, but because of that position hoop, I'm going to start with my A again. So now we're selecting the outlines. A. I gotta hold my breath when if I've got two letters. Got the right one. Just like that. Nope, not that one. Let's see if I can select here. Here. Sometimes you can catch the edges just right. Here. Honestly, I rely on my color film so often. But this seems to be working for this particular one. And there's a little dab. That might be what I missed a while ago, was this little guy. Let's get him now, though. B, center, and center B. Oop, I left out the R. I don't want to start over. I'm going to hit 1, 2, 3. And which one is my little R? There he is right there. So I'll grab this and I'm going to move it we'll go downward with it with my other piece of R. Up one. There we go. Okay. So that goes with my E. I can fix that now too. It's not bad. We'll do it right there. Okay, let's see how this sews now. I'm going to take it out of stitch view and back to the thread view. So I want to do all of my horizontal sketching. Then I want to do all of my outlining. I'm satisfied with that. And then it's going to change color for the end. So I did the one today on a black napkin from OESD. And so all of this was done in red, the sketch stitch, the satin stitch. And then I came back with white for this lettering. So if I look at my color film, we'll change this sketch stitch to red. And then we'll go ahead and change this to white just to get, and we can, if I remember how to find it, design, background and display colors. I will change color inside my hoop. I'll change that to the black to match the napkin that I used. And you can see how it's going to stand out. Let me know if you have any questions. I realize I kind of jumped around about it, but depending on what letters are used, I do them a little different each time. No two alike. Thanks for watching.